Welcome aboard Skylark Outdoors here. And today we are reviewing the Robalo R23 center console, which we've got right here. This one's in that beautiful Carolina blue. And you can see this has a really nice layout for its size at 23 feet. You've got your anchor locker up there in the front. You've got benches which have backrests. And then you've got that middle seat on the center console, which could maybe fit two people, but more like one and a half. You've got a dual seat Helm chair right there, some fishing rod holders on the back, and then you do have a fold out seat back there along the transom. And you can see our live well right there as well. So this is actually rated for 12 people, which at 23 feet is pretty impressive. And then in the rear here, you can also see we've got a tow tower for water sports right there if you want to hook up a tube, water skis, wakeboard, whatever. As we walk around the center console, you can see we've got padding all the way around. Really nice helm layout right here, as well as you've got your center console tubing to support that T-top. All the switches seem to be very high grade. Two cup holders, they probably could have fit 3 or 4 in there. Couple places to put your phones. You've got some cup holders here behind the seats, and then you can remove these backrests if you want to have it more open, or if you want to lay out, you can have those backrests right there. Now, this is at the Bay Harbor 2024 boat show here in Petoskey, Michigan. In the summer, so the price is going to vary. This one was at $123,000 at that boat show, but depending on where you're at and what time of year and what year it is, that will dictate the price here. And you can see some of the options that are on this one in terms of colors and other things like that. Now, most of the features on this boat do come standards. The main thing that you can change is the coloring, T-top, and some of the accoutrements. You've got a little head down here that is hard piped in, so that's nice. It's not a porta potty. You don't have to deal with that. You can just pump that out. And surprising amount of room for a 23-foot center console, what you can fit in there. In terms of this boat, does seem high quality, seems to have all the features that you would expect to have in a fishing boat to get the job done, as well as it's laid out well with extra seating, and that seems to be a trend. Center consoles, I would say 5 to 10 years ago, were set up really just as a fishing boat, and you would really rarely ever see that transom seat in the back there. But I think a lot of manufacturers got the message and realized that not everyone is going to be fishing all the time. People want to bring their friends along, their family along, and having that rear transom seat to have a couple extra spaces for people to sit is always beneficial, as well as just other accoutrements besides having rod holders, which is nice. But don't get me wrong, this is a serious fishing machine and is outfitted like a fishing machine. Now, what I like about this is some of the specifications of this particular boat that puts it in kind of a different class where you could technically tow this behind a large SUV or even a medium-sized truck rather than a full-size truck. And that's because with the engines, this weighs 4,400 pounds dry, which is within the capacity of many larger SUVs, which can tow 5,000 pounds, or a mid-sized truck like a Toyota Tacoma could tow this boat, but you still have 12-person capacity or 1,725 pounds. You've got a max horsepower of 250 horses. You can get this with the 250 or 200 horsepower engine. I'd probably go with the 250 horsepower. You've got a fuel capacity of 90 gallons, and with the 250 or 200 horsepower, it's going to give you a fairly large range with the outboard engine, especially when you don't have a lot of people on it. With the engine trimmed up, you've got 19 inches of draft, a 20-degree dead rise, and then you've got bridge clearance with the hard top at 8'6", and then an 8'6" beam, so you can trailer this anywhere without any kind of a wide load permit. And then it's 23 feet overall. So this falls into a very capable fishing boat that can be towed with pretty much any vehicle that you're going to have towing capabilities on that's in that mid-size or a truck. Certainly on a truck, you could tow this no problem. You'd barely feel like you were towing anything at all. And sometimes even if you do have a larger truck, it's just nice to be able to tow a boat that is lighter weight and tows easily. So that is a consideration on this. You've got fish boxes in the deck here, and then plenty of rod holders. You can get additional rod holders on this if you want. That is some of the options. But you've got rod holders both on the T-top and then behind that rear seat, as well as in the gunnels. So overall, I think it is something that you have a serious capable fishing machine, but it's easy to tow. So you could tow this long distance. Let's say you wanted to tow this from Ohio to Florida, or Michigan to Florida, or from the Midwest to Florida, or Texas or Louisiana or the coasts. It's going to be a dream towing something like this compared to a boat that's even 3 to 4 thousand pounds more. Just because when you're under that 5,000 pound weight of towing something, it just seems to be so much easier and more comfortable while you are towing than once you get to 10,000 pounds. I always just feel a little bit more on edge. Now, that's not everybody, but you've just got to be more mindful of the vehicle's stopping distances and everything else like that. With under 5,000 pounds, it's just going to be easier to manage for most people. That's not everybody. I know some of you will tell me you tow 20,000 pounds and 50-foot boats regularly all the time. That's great. But your average person towing something like this is going to be a lot easier. You can see we've got some lights up here as well. Now, in terms of handling, this does have a nice hull shape on it. Robalo is known for their fishing boats and center consoles. And I do love the color on this and then just some of the layouts. I think one of the parts of this that is interesting to me is that even though it's a center console, it has all the features of what you would find in, let's say, like a lake boat or a ski boat or an all sports boat. You've got the towing capability for skiers or tubers, and you do have enough seating that people are going to be comfortable on this if you're taking people for a day out on the lake. And I actually like that underneath the chair, you can see there's a cooler there. It allows you to put a cooler underneath there rather than that just being kind of your typical storage. And that's because, let's say you are going fishing, you probably want the extra ice, and maybe that's your drinks cooler or snacks or whatever you've got. But just having the ability to put a cooler underneath there without cluttering up the deck too much is a really nice feature in itself. But then if you needed it as extra seating, you could pull that out, put that on one of the sides of the boat, and then you'd have some extra seating. And then maybe when you're fishing, shove that back underneath the chair. So stuff like that does make a lot of sense in terms of what you're getting out of this boat. And then this is outfitted with a Yamaha SHO motor, which is just kind of like one of their higher end motors that you're going to get a little bit more out of it. And you can once again put on a 200 or 250 horsepower. You've got your standard controls here. You've got a little bit of storage. You've got, it looks like Simrad electronics on this, but you can certainly put whatever electronics you want on it. Simrad, Garmin, um, anything that you want to have outfitted, you could certainly do there. And then I do believe there is an option. It looks like there's a bracket right there that you can fill in that center area. I am not 100% sure, but that would give you like a larger layout bench, or potentially you've got like a table. It does look like there's a bracket in there for that. And then you've got your anchor locker up at the front for this as well. So overall, neat boat. I think it blends a little bit of everything, where you've got a capable fishing machine, but a fun family boat. Going to give you a fairly stable and smooth ride in it because it is a center console meant to go offshore. So you're going to have a drier, more stable ride in the trop than a similar size like ski boat. And that's one of the other advantages of this. But you could absolutely take this out offshore, do some crossings with it, just mind the weather, but it's going to be more capable than a similar size boat that is more of a ski boat versus a center console or a family oriented boat. So fishing focused with the accoutrements for family and passengers to be able to come when you aren't fishing. And then you have some more storage back there behind that seat right there. That is storage as well along the stern as well. So thanks for watching this review and tour of the Robalo R230 boat. Neat little boat here. I think it's going to get a lot of utility for a lot of people. And Robalo is well known and been established now for quite a while. And people have a lot of good things to say about them. I can see why. Here you get a lot of boat uh, for what you are getting, and you get a solid boat. And maybe it doesn't have all the features or all the looks of some of the other boats that you might see in this range. However, what you're getting is a solid platform to then change anything around that you want, or just use it as is. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to learn more about how to be a better boater or take any of our courses, you can check those down below. Or you can support us by subscribing to the channel and watching our videos in the future. Thank you, and we will see you next time.